Hello and welcome to QED's Stata 4 from part S12. So hopefully you've read the introduction here and the part about the World Values Survey, and they're very interesting data. Here's an example in that screenshot. So we're looking at wave 6 and wave 7, the last two waves. So first of all, open the wave 6 survey data in Stata. And because this is already in Stata format, there's no need to go to the Excel import. It's already in. So there's the level 6, the 6th wave one, there's the 7th wave one. Okay, so we've got the data. Here's the variables we got. You can see the kind of thing they're asking about. And can you find out how many observations, how many variables there are in the data sets? Well, a good way to do that, of course, is describe. Just describe the data sets. So you can see there's quite a bunch of values of variables. So lots and lots of variables here. It's all about corruption, post-materialist society, religion, immigration status, employment, the use of computers, languages. Really a colossal amount of data. So any conceivable dissertation, for example, you want to do, there's stuff there. And here's the kind of the questions we'll be working with. Do you want people with a different race or a different language or origin as your neighbours? All these kind of questions. Anyway, let me not go on. Here's the stuff. There are, at the top of this describe outputs, you find here that there are 440 variables and there are 89,565 observations. So practically 90,000 people have given us their information here on these 440 variables. If you browse the data, and you can see that there's things like no answer, don't know, and if you see the kind of things they're asking you, it's not surprising. But there we go. No answer, ran away, hit me with something. All these kind of things. Well, there's a blank, and we got to know how to deal with that. Where it says no answer, if you click on no answer, well, just like over here where it says married single, if you click on married, then up at the top, you see married actually is a data value of 1, single is a data value of 6, divorced is a data value, I was clicking on divorce, is 3. So these are just codes, so the same over here. These 1s and 4s are actual numbers, but the no answer is a -2. It's not an actual data, it's not a data value, it just stands for -2, and not applicable as -3. So we need to get rid of all those minuses because Stata doesn't use that code for missing values. Stata uses things like dots and dot A and dot B to mean that there's missing data there. So if we find out the average or something of this column, it's going to include that as a -3, so completely muck up the answers. So the data values actually stored to represent missing values are negative numbers. So what we do is replace those. So with my super fast typing skills, otherwise known as copying from the worksheet, and go to, actually, I wonder if that might help. No, pretty much. Go here and we get this command. Sorry, no, we're not. So I've recommended that we start a do file. This analysis gets quite complicated, so we do want to use a do file. So I've given you the start of one here. Start, that's the one. Yeah. So it's got this starting thing here. So it closes any log files and starts a new log file, so you have the output recorded. But here, this part here, you've got to change yourself. And what I recommend, as before, if you can't find the correct commands to put in there, you can't make it work. If you do it like I just did here from the menu to start with, there, when I open it from the menu, you get what you need inside here. The clear command means it just clears what's in the memory. It won't give you that nagging thing about, oh, do you really want to get rid of the memory data? So this stuff here you can just copy and put into your do file at the start, and that will load it correctly. There we are, that's the recode. So this recode, it tells Stata we're going to recode the things that we're using to represent missing variables. This line all is a really helpful. It's really a kind of a meta variable. This applies. This means that what you're going to do applies to all the variables in your data set. So in all the variables, it's going to change missing values so that -1 turns into the dot A. And in Stata, remember the basic missing value is just a dot. Then you have different categories like dot A, dot B, dot C, dot E, and you can then label that and say, okay, dot A means they ran away, dot B says means that they wanted money for the answer or whatever. You can put codes in to say what those mean, but when you do calculations, those will be ignored. And for some bizarre reason, Stata insists that these are separated by these backward slashes like that. Now, warning here, you want to go back, put the kettle on, because this takes quite a while when we execute this. So let's just do that. Let's just select a bit and D. And you see now, if I try and get back to my browser window, it's just got a clock. So I'm going to pause it while this runs. Okay, so that's finished. It did take the best part of a minute on my computer. You can see that you got that things like don't know wouldn't answer. They've been changed to dot B, dot C. Yeah. So when using calculations data, those dot B's and dot C's will just get ignored, so it won't be a problem. Sorry, that was slightly off the screen. You can see there's some up here you can see on the screen, hopefully. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to simplify the data set a lot, because it's a bit confusing with 440 variables. We have got a huge amount of time. You can carry on exploring this a lot. I don't want to make this class too long, so I'm going to focus on just a subset of this. So the next thing I add to the do file is this command, keep. And this just keep really means that everything else gets dropped. So these variables here remain in the data set. So these are the questions from the World Values Survey I want to analyse. And cow is a country code. You can see it's right at the end, because we need some way of matching up which country each answer goes with. So if we do that, execute that, and then go back to our browser, you can see that there's nothing there. It's radically simplified, yeah. So now we've only got those, I think it's 7, was it 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, 9 questions, plus this cow thing, which I can't remember what cow stands for, it's a country code anyway. Before we move on, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to cut that and put it in somewhere much more sensible, which is before the decoding command. And as it's asking the thing, what the shortest question is question 11. Why would you do this? Hopefully you've thought, why do I want to do the keep before I do the MV decode? And hopefully you thought about the answer is obviously that if I had done that, then that would have meant that this MV decode wouldn't have taken time, because if you look back at Stata, where's the results window? Where's the results window? Where's even Stata? I've got so many windows open, I can't find it. There is that. See what it was doing here? For all these 440 variables, it was having to generate thousands and thousands. So it's like hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of operations it was doing here. And for most of these variables, we're not interested, we're not going to use them. If we were going to analyze it, we'd have to just suck it up. But since we only want to analyze 9 variables, much better to zap everything else first and then replace the missing values. So by doing things in a sensible order, you can save a lot of time. Okay, so next step is we'll go on to when we what's called collapse this data down. So instead of having 90,000 observations, we'll just have 1 observation for each country. But we'll save that for the next video. And for now, thanks for watching.